Business Spotlight from Cross Rhythms and Baba Baboon. Sponsored by Staffordshire Chambers of Commerce. Join over 1,000 delegates at Uttoxeter Racecourse on the 9th of October for the Let's Do Business Expo by booking your free ticket today.
I'm Sonya Farrell. This is Business Spotlight in partnership with Cross Rhythms City Radio and Baba Baboon. This week in the studio, we've got Tom Nadin, who is now the interim Deputy Chief Executive of Staffordshire Chambers of Commerce, as well as still fulfilling the role of Head of Projects and Business Services. Tom, hello.
Hi, Sonya.
How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Thanks for having me.
Before we go anywhere, Tom, I just want you to briefly explain, because we've just mentioned, and congratulations, you are interim Deputy Chief Exec at the Staffordshire Chambers of Commerce, but how does that happen now, like change your role, or doesn't it?
Well, as I was just saying to you, kind of the interesting aspect is that interim bit, because it means that I've still got to do my previous role while still doing kind of the deputy chief exec role. So as you said, my role previously was around kind of head of projects and business services. So I looked after any of the funding and programs that we offered as a chamber. Whereas now as kind of deputy, I'm doing more of kind of the strategic kind of planning, working with a lot of our kind of strategic partners, so our patron members, who tend to be kind of some of the kind of anchor institutions kind of across Stoke-on-Trent and Staffordshire. So finding out what their views are, what their challenges are, relating them back to either local, national government, or kind of seeing what we can do to kind of support those businesses to grow and thrive. So it's busy at the minute.
It does. It sounds busy, Tom. So thank you for taking the time, first of all, as well, to come in. But it does sound busy and it sounds very varied. And one of the focuses that we're going to concentrate on today is actually Let's Do Business, which I'm pretty sure some of the patrons, maybe the chambers, might be there as well at Let's Do Business on the 9th of October at Uttoxeter Racecourse. But also, with your role in everything that you do, with your experience at the Chambers of Commerce, is to do with funding. Now, what exactly could a business expect when they attend Let's Do Business this year on funding opportunities? Is there going to be different organisations there that they can potentially go and speak to?
Yeah, so there'll be a range of different businesses. So while we've got kind of the usual kind of business-to-business kind of work that will be going on and kind of the networking, there will be a lot of kind of grants and kind of funding partners there within the room as well. So one of the big ones that will be there is Staffordshire County Council and Stoke-on-Trent City Council. So they run a number of kind of grant funds that businesses will be able to access from, helping them to kind of develop websites, develop kind of marketing plans. There is also a big inward investment and capital grant that kind of the City Council are offering. So I'd advise businesses to kind of speak to as many kind of standholders as possible and going out to see them. As well as that kind of grant funds, we've also got, though, other kind of opportunities that kind of are there for businesses to access. So organisations like BCRS Business Loans, they offer really favourable rates in terms of kind of business loans that kind of organisations can get access to. It's always worth kind of having a chat to them to see kind of what is available and how a business can make the most of it. And then there's a wide range of chamber support as well, which I can talk about later.
So just those ones that you've just mentioned, those particular organisations, I'm guessing then, and just asking you to clarify, are they all exhibiting?
They're all exhibiting, yeah, so they will all have stands. The best way to do it is to just go up, speak to kind of the individuals on there, talk to them about kind of your needs, what you're looking for. They're not expecting you to know what they offer. Just go and have a chat to them, tell them kind of what your struggles are, what kind of funding that you might be looking at, and they can either point you in the right direction of maybe another stand, or they can talk about kind of the support that they've got. But there's a huge number of kind of different organisations that will be there. That is just a snapshot of kind of the ones that kind of I know of that have kind of got the opportunities. We'll also have the universities there. They've always got kind of different growth programs, different funding that you could potentially access. So I'd just say to any business that's going along, or even if you're an exhibitor yourself, kind of don't miss that opportunity to go speak to other exhibitors and just find out kind of what you might be missing out on.
And what about then the funding opportunities that the Staffordshire Chambers of Commerce can also help with and help to support with? And again, is there going to be like you know the experts on the ground at the Let's Do Business again, where businesses can come and approach about this?
Yep, there will. So we're actually having a chamber project stand at Let's Do Business where we will have kind of chamber representatives who work on our programs all the time. So we've got at the minute 3 main programs that we are offering. One of those is what we're calling the Stoke-on-Trent and Staffordshire Skills Hub. So any business that has got a skills need and doesn't know how to kind of meet that skills need, that could be maybe for themselves or it could be maybe for one of their members of staff, I'd advise them to go to speak to the Skills Hub. what the Skills Hub acts as is kind of the one-stop shop for skills support. So they can do a bit of a trawl around kind of what local providers there might be that can help to meet that skills need. So that could be kind of your universities, your colleges, or maybe an independent training provider, again, who will probably have stands kind of in the room at Let's Do Business. So they will probably just point you in the direction, go have a chat to them, go have a chat to them. They're also really clued up, though, on different funding that's available to kind of access some of those skills. So they can kind of talk to you about kind of the funding opportunities. That could either be national government or some local funding opportunities. And then the actual Skills Hub themselves have actually got a grant that is available to businesses in Stoke-on-Trent and East Staffordshire. So that is £1,000 that a business could access to be able to cover the cost of a training course that business might want to access. So if it's, for example, a leadership and management course and it was valued at £800, then you could have a grant of up to that kind of £800 to kind of cover the cost of it. There's actually 100% funded as well, so the business wouldn't have to put any funding in themselves, and they would be able to get kind of the full 800. But again, they can talk to you about kind of what opportunities there are.
Okay.
The other programme that we have and that we'll be promoting there is our Promoting Innovation Pathways programme. So if anyone's looking to develop a new product or a process or a service in their business, then they can speak to the team there. They can then talk to them about what support is available to access and kind of develop that new product, process or service. And again, they've got a grant that is up to £5,000 in Stoke and East Staffordshire, which can help that business develop that new product, process or service. So again, you'll be able to speak to the experts while you're there at Let's Do Business. They can talk you through all of the process that you'll need to go through. So it's a good opportunity so you don't miss out on the support that's available.
So if you are interested then as a business, you're going along.
Yep.
And you are interested, like whether it is skills or something like that, or you want to develop a product and you're a bit uncertain or you're not sure how to approach that first step. First of all, is there any criteria that a business needs to be aware of before they even actually start to think, oh, well, I could go for that?
Yeah, so with each different programme, and that's not just ours, that's kind of some of the other organisations that I've talked about, there will be kind of some strict criteria. So, for example, it might be that you need to be a kind of an SME, so a small and medium enterprise business. Some grant funds are only available to kind of those. Sometimes it'll all be based on postcode. So it's a bit of a postcode lottery now in kind of how funding works. So it'll all depend on where you pay your business rates or where you pay your council tax to on what funding and support is available. So like I talked about with the Skills Hub, that's why we've only got grants in those Stoke-on-Trent and East Staffordshire kind of areas. There are also things around making sure that you've just got things like your business plan in place, that you've got kind of the cash flow forecasts in place, because some of the funds, especially like the funds that I talked about with BCRS and the innovation, they will expect to see that you've got kind of a business plan that's showing the journey that your business is going to go on, that you've done the research around kind of that market and that there's a clear market there, as well as that you've actually got kind of the cash flow to kind of meet the needs, because if you're going for a loan, you need to be able to show that you'll be able to pay that loan back. So the requirements change from kind of program to program, but all of these programs that I've mentioned and all of the kind of the partners that will be there at Let's Do Business have experts that can make that as simple and as easy as possible for you. So they will talk about kind of their own programs. If they don't know that it's right for them, they're also then aware of kind of the other support that's available across Stoke-on-Trent and Staffordshire. So we might just say, go and speak to the Chamber, go and speak to the City Council, go and speak to Staffordshire Uni, for example. And
I'm just going to take you back another step there as well. So when you mentioned, somebody or a business having an actual business plan in place and they haven't got that, I'm guessing the Chambers of Commerce could actually help with that as well, to help them to put that in, together. They can. So, and also with a cash flow forecast as well. So we run a business, enterprise and startup program. So anyone who hasn't got a business plan in place, you can come along to those sessions. They're completely free, and so there's no cost to accessing them. We run them online and in person at our offices in Stoke, and we'll provide you with all of the templates that you need to do a business plan and cash flow forecast. We'll talk you through kind of the whole of the process, get you to think about things that maybe you haven't thought about before, so you actually can put all that in place, so then you are in the right kind of place to kind of access funding and finance or any kind of growth opportunities that might be available to you as a business. I was just going to say as well, even if there's a larger business out there, is there still those funding opportunities which potentially they could, look into as well or apply for? Yep. So I mentioned the City Council's kind of inward investment grant. That is actually looking at kind of significant
kind of numbers of kind of funding. So I think it's up to about £50,000 that they can offer. Again, that is open to kind of any business of any size. So even if you are a large business that potentially wants to access that grant, again, you can speak to the City Council about that. It's all about kind of purchasing kind of new equipment for the business, maybe looking at purchasing new property for the business within the Stoke-on-Trent area. But the City Council will be on hand to kind of say, this is kind of what you need to do. This is kind of what the requirements will be kind of around it. For larger businesses, sometimes they may request that you're looking to create kind of jobs within the area to kind of access that funding. So for £50,000, they might say, well, you need to create 2 jobs kind of based on that ratio, or it could be around safeguarding jobs as well. So you putting in a new piece of machinery will actually safeguard jobs within your business. But again, the experts kind of from the City Council can talk around kind of all of those requirements. And
then you've also, you mentioned university.
Yep.
I'm guessing the University of Staffordshire. Will Keele University be there as well?
Yep, so both the University of Staffordshire and Keele University will be at Let's Do Business. They'll be kind of promoting all of the support that they can offer to businesses. So not just kind of the growth programs and the funding programs that they've got. Obviously, they've got access to kind of world-class students there. There are placement, there are internship opportunities. We at the Chamber, we're just kind of exploring at the minute with the University of Staffordshire on taking on some of their uni temps to kind of work on a couple of projects that we've got. So again, don't miss out on those opportunities kind of when you're at Let's Do Business. Make sure that you go along, you chat to as many people as possible. You don't want to miss some of the offers, some of the work, some of the kind of the funding, finance, growth programs that kind of some of these organisations have got for you.
Could you offer maybe, or just suggest maybe a couple of tips in which a business could get, prepare themselves ready before they come to the Expo? And if they are potentially looking to speak to some of these organisations, is there like a little checklist they can put down, or just, a few notes or something like that to just remind them of what they are looking for?
So what I would say is make sure that kind of you prepare for it. That's kind of our biggest thing that we say to individuals or businesses that are going along. We've got on our website a list of all of the exhibitors that are currently booked on. So it might be worth just having a look at that, kind of have a look at their website, seeing what they might have on offer. So you've got some kind of things prepared that you want to go and talk to them about. You'd be surprised how many people go to Let's Do Business that kind of don't provide business cards and haven't got business cards or anything kind of with their information that they can hand over. So it becomes then really awkward or kind of a bit of a challenge when you're like, oh, we'll get in touch and you haven't got anything to kind of hand over. So make sure that kind of you've got plenty of business cards or a way of sharing your kind of information and details with kind of somebody on the stand. The other benefit of having business cards is that a lot of the stand holders will do competitions as well. So you could win I've seen in the past that you could win kind of bottles of champagne. I think somebody even gave away kind of a weekend holiday once that you could kind of win.
I missed that one.
You missed that one. So just make sure that kind of you take as many as possible because it helps you share your details, but you could also win something nice from attending as well.
So there's lots going on.
There's lots going on.
There's lots happening. There's lots of information and there's lots of things, to absorb, but just to, I suppose, just go in there with an open mind.
Yeah.
And just take it in and then sort of process it afterwards. Now, Tom, I'm just going to ask you, because we mentioned as well at the beginning of the interview, and something I just want to ask you about is, yes, now you are interim Deputy Chief Executive at the Chambers of Commerce while still fulfilling your role as Head of Projects and Business Services down there in Uttoxeter. But you've been there, I believe, 13 years.
I have, yeah.
So in that time, you must have seen and experienced how the Let's Do Business from when it started or when it was running, when you were there, when you joined the Chambers of Commerce, to its entity, what it is now. I mean, how have things changed for you, and how have you seen the changes on how it's developed?
It's changed massively. So I started at the Chamber as an intern, straight kind of out of university, knew nothing about what a chamber was. I think kind of within my first 6 months, kind of I attended my first Let's Do Business. It actually used to be at the Bet365 Stadium. At that time was Britannia Stadium. So I think we had about 100 stands, probably about 400 people that were going along to it kind of at that point. We had no speakers throughout the day, so it was a lot smaller than it is now. I mean, we're talking kind of 160 plus stands now. Last year we had over 1,000 people that attended, Let's Do Business. We've got kind of 3 key speakers kind of along this year. Last year we had Johnny Walters that was kind of talking from a kind of Stoke City point of view. So it's really grown, and kind of it's every year it just gets bigger and bigger, and we sell out of stands earlier and earlier kind of on what we do. And we're actually getting people now who want to kind of speak and kind of promote and kind of shout about their business at Let's Do Business, which kind of 13 years ago we didn't have that. It was more of a slog to kind of entice people kind of along to it, but we've stuck with it, we've grown it, we kind of survived the COVID period where a lot of kind of expos and kind of that business support kind of dropped off that was face to face, and got it back to kind of the strength that it is today. I think the team find it a bit more of a challenge now because it's become kind of such this big massive beast that kind of with that expectation, but they always kind of smash it out of the park, and I have no doubt that this year will probably be even bigger than last year's Let's Do Business. I
mean, it is Staffordshire wide, isn't it? And just going to ask, and it might be putting you on the spot, I don't know, but what do you think's been one of the key sort of factors of how it has developed and grown? Have businesses become more receptive to these kind of events, or has it been something else? Has it been a change in the way people do business?
I think it's multiple things, really. So I think one, businesses probably have become more kind of receptive to this kind of type of event. I think they're seeing kind of the benefit. So we hear all the time kind of the success of Let's Do Business and kind of what businesses have got out of it each year, and kind of the business that they've been able to generate through attending Let's Do Business. And we've shouted out that a lot more as well to say, look, this business has been able to achieve this. Why don't you come along and see what you can do? I do think moving it, because it is now Staffordshire wide from kind of the Bet365 to Uttoxeter Racecourse, it's had a massive benefit. It's right on the A50. It opens up the rest of the county. It doesn't seem as far away for some people who maybe are in the south of the county. So I think that has been a big plus sign from us that we've been able to kind of move it there and kind of more or less take over the whole space. So there's no kind of empty building there that we don't take over. Let's Do Business kind of on the day. And I think businesses kind of during COVID kind of missed a lot of that kind of one-to-one interaction and kind of seeing people, and it's kind of we're now getting kind of out of that, where kind of people now want to kind of have those one-to-one meetings, want to kind of hear key speakers, want to kind of see people in the flesh, and I think that's kind of how we've benefited from it.
So, Tom, are you going to be there yourself in the flesh at Let's Do Business this year?
I will be there. I'll probably be running around manically kind of doing kind of different things. I think last year I helped out on car park. I helped out on kind of registering people in. I manned kind of some of the stand for the chamber at different points. So you'll see me, you'll see chamber staff kind of everywhere doing kind of all the different jobs. But if you are there, catch me, kind of find out, talk to me about kind of what support you might need. I can always kind of point you in the right direction of where you need to go, or introduce you to anyone that you might want to be introduced to. Kind of utilise me, utilise the rest of the chamber staff to make sure that you get the most out of Let's Do Business this year.
Tom, thank you so much for coming in on Business Spotlight and talking about Let's Do Business. I'm pretty sure it's going to be big and better, like you said, this year for 2025, and I'll look forward to seeing you there.
Thank you very much. See you there.
That's Tom Nadin, Interim Deputy Chief Executive of Staffordshire Chambers of Commerce, here on Business Spotlight with me, Sonya Farrell.
Business Spotlight from Cross Rhythms and Baba Baboon, sponsored by Staffordshire Chambers of Commerce. Join over 1,000 delegates at Uttoxeter Racecourse on the 9th of October for the Let's Do Business Expo by booking your free ticket today.